Hello everyone. In this video, we're going to talk about cause and effect language. So we'll talk about how to describe cause and effect in English. So what do these words mean? What is cause? Well, cause means the reason why something happens. And cause also answers the question why. Why does something happen? That's the cause. And in Japanese, it's this. Next, what is effect? Well, the effect is the result of an action. And effect in Japanese is this. And remember that cause always comes first before effect. So if there's a chronological order, or in other words, a time order, remember that cause is always first. Okay, let's look at some examples. And so in these examples, we will use full sentences. So here's this idea. I went to bed at 3 a.m. Why? Why did I go to bed at 3 a.m.? The reason is I drank 2 cups of coffee after dinner. So here we can see a cause and effect relationship. The cause is I drank 2 cups of coffee after dinner. The effect, I went to bed at 3 a.m. So that's the reason why I went to bed so late. Now let's look at some language for how to connect these ideas. And so we'll look at because, so, and therefore. And these are grammatically different. So because is a subordinating conjunction, so, coordinating conjunction, and therefore, conjunctive adverb. So let's look at some examples of using these connectors to show a cause and effect relationship. So we'll start with because. So we'll use the same example earlier about coffee. I went to bed at 3 a.m. because I drank 2 cups of coffee after dinner. Here we have effect and cause. So notice the because phrase is always the cause. Because I drank 2 cups of coffee. So because always goes right before the cause. However, we can move that part to the beginning also. So we can say, because I drank 2 cups of coffee after dinner, I went to bed at 3 a.m. So again, we can move the cause to the beginning of the sentence. Notice in this second example, we need to have a comma here. If the because clause goes first, we need a comma. However, in example 1, the because clause was second, so we don't need a comma. All right, let's look at so. I drank 2 cups of coffee after dinner, so I went to bed at 3 a.m. And here we have the cause and the effect. So always works like this. Cause, so, effect. And notice with so, we must have a comma first, because this is a coordinating conjunction. And finally, therefore. Therefore works like this. I drank 2 cups of coffee after dinner, period. Therefore, comma, I went to bed at 3 a.m. Same thing, cause and effect. But notice the punctuation. So with therefore comes at the beginning of a sentence. So period, therefore, comma. However, so can never be at the beginning of a sentence in formal language. All right, let's look at a couple more examples of cause and effect. But this time we won't use full sentences. Instead, we will use just noun phrases. So let's start with an idea. Cancer. Kind of a negative idea, but it's easy to see the cause and effect relationship here. So the question again is, why do you get cancer? Well, one reason is because of smoking. So here we have a cause and effect relationship. Smoking causes cancer. Smoking is the cause, cancer is the effect. Now let's look at some language on how to express these ideas. So we have this verb, to cause, to result in, a phrasal verb, to be a result of, to lead to. So here we have some verbs and phrasal verbs. And also we have due to and because of. which are prepositional phrases. And these phrases all can be used to link noun phrases. And so it's a little bit different grammatically from the sentences and ideas that we talked about earlier. So let's look at the verbs. So in some of these verbs, the cause is the subject. So you know every verb must have a subject. So most of them, the subject is the cause. So in these examples, to cause, to result in, to lead to. For these verbs, the cause is always the subject. But this other verb phrase, to be a result of, in this case, the effect is the subject. Let's look at some examples. So first we'll start with cause. Smoking causes cancer. So pretty clear, straightforward sentence. Subject, verb, object. So notice this verb cause is a transitive verb, tadoshi. That means that it has an object. That also means that it can be switched to become a passive sentence. So it looks like this in passive. Cancer is caused by smoking. And remember, in a passive sentence, the subject and the object get switched. And so the same thing can happen here. And so for more information about passive sentences, please check out one of my other videos about passive. All right, the next verb, smoking results in cancer. So here again, the cause is the subject. So the cause is smoking. So smoking results in cancer. But this one doesn't have a passive. Next, smoking leads to cancer. Same thing. The cause is the subject. And again, notice that the smoking is singular. So we need an S on the verb. Smoking leads to cancer. And again, this one doesn't have a passive either. Okay, now let's look at the one verb where the effect is the subject. Cancer is a result of smoking. And so here, the cause and the effect are switched because in this verb, the effect is the subject. Cancer is a result of smoking. And this one doesn't really have a passive form either. Okay, those are the verbs. Now let's talk about the prepositional phrases. So here's how they work. Because of and due to, the cause immediately comes after. But one important thing about these prepositional phrases is that to make a complete sentence, we need a verb somewhere. So let's look at an example. Because of smoking, cancer. Is this a correct sentence? No, because remember, every sentence in English must have a subject and a verb. In this sentence, there's no verb, so we need to add a verb. And this can be difficult sometimes. Let's look at this sentence. Because of smoking, cancer happens. Okay, now we have a verb. Cancer happens because of smoking. So remember, every sentence must have a verb. Let's look at some more examples. People get cancer due to smoking. Cancer happens because of smoking. Due to smoking, people get cancer. Because of smoking, people get cancer. And what I want to show you here is that this prepositional phrase can move, similar to the because clause. And also similar to that, if you put it at the beginning, you should have a comma. If you put it at the end or in the middle, you don't need a comma. So these are how to use prepositional phrases. And again, they connect a noun phrase to a sentence. All right, now let's just talk a little bit about how to ask questions about these ideas. So how to ask about the cause and how to ask about the effect. All right, so if I want to ask, what is the cause? So again, we'll use this example. So the missing information in this case is the cause. I want to know, what is the cause? So I can ask some questions like this. What causes cancer? What leads to cancer? So these questions are both asking about the cause. What is the cause? Now let's look at an example of sentences. So we'll go back to the coffee example. So I went to bed at 3 a.m. Again, I want to know the cause. So here, since I have a full sentence with a subject and a verb, I can ask in a different way. I can say something like, why did you go to bed at 3 a.m.? And the answer to that sentence is the cause. I went to bed at 3 a.m. because I drank 2 cups of coffee after dinner. Now, if you want to ask about the effect, we might ask sentences like this. So again, we'll go back to the example of smoking and cancer. So we know the cause is smoking. The question is, what is the effect? Now it gets a little bit more difficult. What does smoking cause? What does smoking lead to? So these questions are asking about the effect. What does smoking cause? What does smoking lead to? What are the effects of smoking? And there's one more thing I want to show about cause and effect, and that's called a cause and effect chain. And we'll use the noun phrases example. So again, we'll start with this idea, cancer. And we talked about the cause is smoking. But sometimes many cause and effect chains can happen. So for example, smoking, cancer, death. So notice these arrows represent cause, effect. Cause, effect. So in this example, cancer is both a cause and an effect. So we can make some sentences like this. Smoking causes cancer. Cancer causes death. So this is called a cause and effect chain, where many events lead to each other. This causes this, that causes that. So this happens quite frequently in the real world. And we can think about this information in a chain like that. All right, that's all I want to say about cause and effect for now. So this was a long video with a lot of information. So thanks for watching, and if you have any questions or comments, please send me an email. See you next time.